President Biden says he will meet with the Congressional Black Caucus to discuss federal action on police reform. The group's chairman, Stephen Hertzford, had pushed for a meeting with the president this week. He is also urging Congress to step up, saying, quote, "We are calling on our colleagues in the House and Senate to jumpstart negotiations now and work with us to address the public health epidemic of police violence that disproportionately affects many of our communities." Republican Senator Tim Scott spoke on the Senate floor Monday with hopes of finding compromise.
Republicans, Democrats, independents, non-affiliates, black folks, white folks, rich folks, poor folks, Southerners, Northerners, the West Coast and the East Coast are sick and tired of politics as usual.
To discuss this, we've got Kirk Burkhalter. He's a professor at New York Law School and director of the 21st Century Policing Project. Kirk, if you could wave your hand and have some reforms be put in place at the federal level, what would be included in those reforms?
Well, since I have the magic wand, my first wish will be national standards. Let's learn from this particular incident, a national standard with regards to police education, a national standard with regards to recruitment and ongoing monitoring of police officers while they are working, and a national standard as to supervision. How many police officers can work in an unsupervised capacity, perhaps no more than 2 or 3.
And what is your hope with national standards that would fix or at least get at some of these issues with policing?
Certainly. Well, the hope is, because of the reality is there is no magic wand, there is no one fix. But the hope would be that whenever we identify trends that lead to various failures, then those trends should no longer be employed. The lack of supervision, that's a trend that leads to a failure. It shouldn't be employed. Naming these units aggressive names, such as the Scorpion Unit and so forth, and not training them effectively, not giving these police officers time in these units to obtain a certain level of expertise, and somewhat demilitarizing police departments. We see that this militarized look, this militarized attitude certainly leads to abuses of force.
So those standards would create essentially a pathway for best practices so that once those best practices were identified, they'd get right into all police units across the country. Let me see if you could put 2 things in that pipeline that you've just built. Well, and these are being suggested in Memphis. One is mental health diagnoses for officers. And then the second is a bill to compel EMTs and other police in a situation where officers are using excessive force, that it would compel them to step in. What do you think about those 2 reforms?
I think those would be quite helpful. First of all, starting with the latter, this compelling a bystander to step in. Right now, the only way a bystander is compelled is just simply that they may be charged with official misconduct. They have to jump through several hoops. Shouldn't have to compel a police officer to step in, but I think we certainly are at a point where that needs to be statutorily defined. Further, I can tell you from serving 20 years in the police department, I come from a police family where between my father, my brother, and I, we have 65 years of experience. Thank goodness we had the 3 of us to talk and discuss things. However, many police officers don't have someone like that. So I think some type of monitoring, counseling and so forth could be quite helpful given the nature of the job and what police officers see and deal with on a daily basis.
One of the things that has broken down the national efforts at police reform is this question of qualified immunity, which, well, explain what it means and why it's important, or do you think it's important in terms of reforming policing?
Well, in some respects, it's important to retain in some way, shape, or form, I believe. But, needless to say, everything deserves a second look. Qualified immunity is the concept that, police officer will not be sued civilly for certain forms of misconduct. it's not a blanket get out of a civil suit card by all means. Now you have to think and take in account that if you're asking someone to do a job where at some points they may be asked to use force and so forth, it's going to be difficult to get people to take that job if the possibility that they'll be sued exists every single day. That being said, as I just mentioned, it cannot be a blanket card where I know that I will never, ever be touched. I can't be touched. So I think it's worth taking a look at. For me, police serve the public. I served the public. And you have to accept the fact that if it's something the public wants reviewed, not saying to get rid of it altogether, but you have to accept that fact that that's what the public wants. So at the very least, it should be on the table in some shape or form.
All right, Kirk Burkhalter, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure.